we have trouble in turn number 2. Johnny Anderson, flipping the third-place car, has crashed on turn number 2. Anderson's car totally destroyed.
Turning into a strong headwind and lapping that slower car, which is upsetting the air. Anderson just gradually loses control. The back of the car comes round, hits the grass, and lifts the inside. And once it's up, the air gets under it and just lifts the car in a reverse roll. And then it starts to roll a front roll. End over end, crashing down onto the roof.
Savage series of sidewinders ends the hopes of John Anderson to qualify for tomorrow's Daytona 500.
Trouble. Ricky Rudd slamming toward the wall. Crashing, rolling over.
We're running in a tight little pack. There wasn't a lot of cars in that race. It was like 12 cars. And I remember the guy behind me, Jody Ridley at the time, coming out of turn 4, barely nudged in the back of hit me in the back bumper. Barely nudged me, but it did. It broke my car loose. And when it did, it started sliding to the infield. About that time, it got airborne. The car went up. Everything got really quiet. It went up pretty high in the air. I remember being way up in the air. After that, when it came down and hit, if you'd asked me what happened, I'd say, well, I came back down, hit the ground. It knocked the wind out of me because I remember hearing all the air leave my body, just like you do when you listen to the NFL game tapes when the guys hit each other and you hear the wind get knocked out of somebody. I heard that. The next thing I remember, I'm waking up and the car is upright and they're basically working to get me out of the car. I remember that and didn't remember anything else. I mean, it just like, I guess I went to sleep during that time, and probably glad I did because I didn't have any bad memories of it other than the aches and pains that hung around for quite a while.
Oh, car trouble. Here it got it. Spinning, crashing. That is the Trevor Boyce car. In big trouble out of turn number 4. It's a hard way to get a caution here all afternoon.
Okay, he gets hooked. It looks like that's Tommy Ellis' car right behind him, and they just touch enough, and it shoots his car down to the inside. The air gets underneath the car, flips it over backwards. It hits hard on the top, scoots up the end of pit road there on the top. It hits the grassed area, flips back over, all the way over and back on the wheels and up on the side and lands back on the wheels once again like a big bucking horse.
Incredible crash of Tom Usry. Air gets under the car. It rolls and flips in the tri-oval, throwing the bodywork from the roll cage, and then is hit by Kirk Bryant. Leg and arm injuries are suffered and facial lacerations, but he talks with his rescuers before he's taken from the twisted metal.
That's Waltrip and Alan Kowicki leading this.
Oh, look at Earnhardt. Got sideways. Somebody looked like made some contact.
Uh-oh, we've got a problem.
Contact here, for sure. Darrell Waltrip and Joe Rutten. Waltrip car gets on his foot and over and over.
Darrell Waltrip tumbling down the backstretch in what appears to be a very, very serious crash.
He was up a little bit high, and Darrell looked like they just went together as they came off of turn 2 and started Darrell to the infield, and Rutten took him with him.
Car rolled over 5 or 6 times and came to rest on its side.
Here they come off the 4th corner. Ernie Irvan leads them down now. Is he going to win the Winston 500? Jimmy Spencer is second. They come through the tri-oval. Checkered is waving. Ernie Irvan wins, and Rusty spins and gets airborne and flips wildly right at the start-finish line. Very reminiscent of his accident at Daytona.
Oh, man. That is too bad. Come on, brother. Let's see.
What a way.
Yeah, he's moving. I see him moving around in the car. I saw it there. We see his head moving around.
Yes, we do.
Thank God.
Well, Ernie Irvan with a big win, Bob.
Oh, and this is the ultimate in sportsmanship and concern for your fellow driver. Dale Earnhardt has driven down to the scene of Rusty Wallace's accident. He has gotten out of his car and he has come over to see if he can be of any assistance to Rusty, and if not, just to tell him to hang in there.
There's Earnhardt's car sitting there, but he jumped out of the car. Didn't even take his helmet off.
Rusty remains in the car at the moment. However, we have seen that he is moving around. Now, here is what happened.
Okay, there's Rusty and Dale Jarrett running side by side. Earnhardt comes down on the inside, trying to draft Rusty and go right out of the picture, and it looks, there he is. Earnhardt right up on the back bumper of Rusty, and he does touch him.
That's
and
why
around he goes, and that's one reason that Dale Earnhardt went down there.
That's why he was so concerned, because he touched Rusty Wallace to start this situation, it looks like.
And the car overturns about 6 or 7 times, pirouetting on its nose, end over end, side over side, comes to a rest on its wheels between the start-finish line and turn 1. He will be credited with 6th finishing position. Here is another angle.
Here they come down through there, Jared and Rusty Wallace side by side. Dale trying to get down on the inside, trying to go down. And looks like he just touched Rusty, and the car, just like Daytona, started flying. It goes up in the air. I thought maybe it was going to do like Jimmy Spencer did last year and come back on its wheels, but it didn't. It caught. And here it goes again.
There is a huge cheer going up from the grandstand just opposite of where Rusty's car has come to a rest, and we assume that the cheers are because he is out of the car, or at least they can see that he has received no serious injuries.
And Earnhardt has gotten back in his car and is driving away.
There's the jaws of life. That thing you see back there, they're cutting the roll bars so that it will be easier to get Rusty out of the car. There we see him with that, cutting the roll bars off the car.
Well, the cheers could have been for Dale Earnhardt, just checking, saluting him for checking on Rusty's condition.
Martin has picked up where he left off before. One car spinning, the car number 41.
Johnny Benson. As the car takes a roll as it slid backwards, apparently the air just picked the back end of it up and around and rolling over. Here they come back to the start-finish line. Mark Martin will lead them through the start-finish line.
Caution being shown for the first time today. A violent crash out of turn 2.
Well, it looks like he might have been tagged by a car, Jared. There was a pack of cars running together, and then it gets backwards, and you see the spoiler sticking up there. The air gets under it and lifts the back end up, and then it just starts rolling over in the grassed area on the backstretch here at the Michigan International Speedway. Fortunately, it does not get over into that guardrail, but that's a pretty serious-looking crash, but it lands on its wheels.
Different angle, again, for that scary crash here in the early laps. Looking across the racetrack, you see the rear of the car starting to get off the ground. You'll get a sense of actually how high this car will lift here as it came off the ground and begins to tumble. Higher than some of the scaffolds there where our cameras are located.
Well, Jerry, the speeds have increased so much here at the Michigan International Speedway in the last couple of years, and in this race in particular, Goodyear has some awfully good tires now that are running faster.
Let's see what happens.
Well, it was side by side with John Krebs. Oh. John Krebs goes, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Out through there in front of Derek Cope.
And the car overturned several times. So our concern isn't about Derek Cope. He's okay. Our concern is John Krebs. And he did not come close to a spectator area. They were well separated from the area that Krebs landed in. There you can see Cope. He is out of the car and walking away.
Now, Bob, you see that guy says Skull Racing on it? That's a spotter.
Yeah.
These teams have spotters scattered all around the road course today to try to warn their drivers about trouble. So he rushed down to see if Derek Cope was okay.
In fact, Benny, one of Derek Cope's spotters is up here in my position. He tapped me on the shoulders and gave me the okay signal as soon as the wreck happened.
And we understand that Krebs has been on the radio to his crew. He appears to be okay. But, man, there is the car there from Derek Cope's in-car. You can see Krebs' machine several feet away. We don't have sound, but just watch the pictures.
Wild event. Lap 36. Michael Dokken in the yellow. He hits the wall, then clips the rear number 66, Mark Thompson. Thompson goes airborne, first on his top, then rolls over and over and over. Thompson tonight is in stable condition, broken ribs and a concussion in a hospital there. Instant destruction. Mark Thompson in the ARCA 200. If he'd have stayed on his top, it would have been all right. But once he got airborne, there was nothing going to stop that car of his from coming apart.
just about like running an event in a pizza oven, and there's been...
And there's a spin. There's trouble.
Car upside down. Schrader. Schrader's number 25, side over side, end over end. Another car in trouble and also getting airborne.
Terry Labonte is involved. His car spinning around on the grass. There is Elton Sawyer spinning around. Rusty Wallace there. There's Lake Speed. There's Rick Mast.
Bobby Labonte is up against the wall. Here you see Gordon in the 24.
Okay, he comes up and clips Ken Schrader, his teammate, and sends him around. Schrader's car going backwards. The roof flaps are up, and then he gets hit by Ricky Craven. And then that flips the car over.
He just drove in under it and turned it over.
And then other cars coming back with all the smoke and people slowing down. They start hitting each other, and lots of cars getting involved as we see Schrader's car continue to roll and tumble on the grass.
Jeff Gordon's in car. And I believe this is in slow motion.
Okay, there's Schrader up on the outside, and you can see him make contact right there and spins Schrader around. Gordon goes on, apparently no harm done to his car.
Jeremy Mayfield giving us these pictures.
And there they're wrecking in front of them, and he hits Bobby Labonte right there, just gives him a little bit of a tap as we see Schrader's car going up in the air, and it spins Bobby right into the outside wall.
That 97 has shown to be fast, very fast.
And what's at stake for him here? He's
trouble.
Contact on the backstretch. It's Mike Waltrip and now Brian Vickers. Robbie Gordon, 31. The time. Waltrip's over. 1, 2, 3 times for Michael Waltrip.
Well, there's the big one right there. Took a lot. There's a lot of good cars right there. Is that Sterling Marlin in there?
40 cars in it. That's Michael Waltrip's car upside down.
And when you're in a situation like that, you are just a passenger, especially when these cars start turning each other. Here you see, looks like Johnny Sauter slid up in the 30 car into Brian Vickers in the 25. A chain reaction.
Yes, that's Michael talking. Yeah.
And Biffle, the pole sitter, looks like he barely got through there.
So you see the tire come off of Michael's car, then it got into that grass softened by the rain, and it just dug in, just like we saw Ryan Newman's last year, and sent the car over.
There's Harvick, Kevin LePage, Johnny Benson.
That's us, guys. 25 got into us. That's us.
Robbie Gordon's view.
Robbie didn't have such a good time on it.
Man.
That looked like yesterday.
We're done. My car's killed.
And that's inside Michael Waltrip's car.
And Michael's probably
he's getting out.
Getting out of the car now.
Michael is crawling out of that thing. Listen to the huge applause that Michael gets as he gets out and waves to the crowd.
That's why he's doing what he's doing. He's just mirror driving all over the racetrack.
Oh, trouble. Elliott Sadler over 1.5 and on his roof. Now the car tumbling hard onto the pavement in turn 3. Caution is out. A terrible crash.
Could be.
Yeah, could be.
Could be trying to dodge that 8 car.
Car flew in the air a long ways before it hit anything.
And now the banking kicks the car back to the left.
You see the contact, yeah.
And there you see the car.
And there he makes contact. He comes down trying to get in front of Kurt Busch. They make contact. And watch that thing fly. And there it lands on that road you talked about.
And then when it gets onto the racetrack again, takes another nasty flip. Watch this hit.
That's the hard one right here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they all look pretty hard.
Yeah, they do. I don't want to be in there in any of them. Man.
And like I said, that car really held up well.
And here he comes out the window.
Oh, that's great.
Easy does it. Yeah, don't cut yourself.
Oh, that's good to see.
He's out.
What a big problem that could create. Now you can see that if somebody run out of fuel right there in the middle of that group, it would cause a huge wreck. We've heard, oh, here's a car upside down.
Big time crash upside down.
It's Ryan Newman. See Kevin Harvick there. Marcus Ambrose.
Ambrose is there, comes across. Harvick stops, and Newman's car comes to rest upside down on its roof.
You can see Tony Stewart was running up on the car in front of him, and instead of hitting, he rolled out of the throttle, and Ryan Newman had a big run. And when he kind of saw what was happening, he had to turn left, and that shot him across in front.
He was actually getting a little bit of a shove from Marcus Ambrose, too.
Yep.
Almost all the cars were touching going down the backstretch.
Now watch Marcus Ambrose's onboard camera as the 39 car comes across in front of him.
See right here, he gets that.
Three wide top.
The second hit, that shot him over in front of the 29, and then when he got turned around backwards when the car lifted off. See, that bump there, that turned Tony.
Wow.
You can see the car up in the air down on the inside. Unbelievable.
Lands upside down on the hood of the 29 car of Kevin Harvick. Now watch it as it happened in real time. Now the roof being peeled away.
Incidents of the entire test session for all three series on the backstretch. Eric Almirola from Joe Gibbs Racing makes some contact coming down the track and ends up on his roof. Fortunately, only the car was damaged. It was a very scary looking tumble, mostly because he was upside down for quite a while, but the safety crews of the track got the car back on its wheels and got Almirola out, but a tough way to get accustomed to Daytona.
Draft with Sam, he did a great job. A couple times the car got loose. He saved it really well. This was not as good.
Yeah, scary little ride for Eric Almirola in the 18. At this point, apparently, he was still on the radio and still in communication with his crew.
Yeah, wondering how thick the roll cage is, I'm sure. But you never know. I mean, it's testing. The car's upside down.
More than half the field have been involved. So, Darrell, are they afraid of this track?
I think there is a fear factor here. I think if you've never scared yourself here, then you haven't been racing very hard. When you race hard, you scare yourself.
Well, I'm going to tell you right quick, this place is dangerous. I don't care what you say. You see what happened to Kyle Busch yesterday.
Oh, Briscoe gets loose. Austin Wayne Self around. Heavy contact with the 99 of Peters up and over. There's the replay of the accident that brought out the final caution in the wild ride endured by Timothy Peters.
It looked like the 22 of Austin Wayne Self just got a little bit loose on exit of turn number 4. Got into Johnny Sauter. Watch him get loose on the bottom. Gets into Johnny a little bit. Turns him sideways. Ben Rhodes able to get by. Timothy commits to the bottom. Austin Wayne comes down there. A wild ride for Timothy. Timothy just really didn't even have any choice but to go to the bottom, did he?
No, normally Austin would have probably come back up the racetrack after that, and he didn't.
How about the view from Matt Crafton? And this is Timothy Peters. Watch this ride.
See Timothy sitting in there as they turn that truck back over.
Look at the dirt and the earth attached to that truck as they turn him right side over.